This video will help you get to know the content of the rubrics for student growth related to 3.2 and 6.2 as part of the teacher evaluation system here in the state of Washington. My name is Mark Gardner, and I teach English at Hayes Freedom High School in the Camas School District. I'm a member of the Camas Education Association and WEA, and I'm also co-lead statewide for the Marzano Instructional Framework. This video is going to be focusing on the 3.2 and 6.2 rubrics, which we refer to as the outputs of the 5 different student growth rubrics that are part of our teacher evaluation. As a reminder, these videos that are breaking down the student growth rubrics focus on the language of the Level 3 Proficient rubric. The rubrics for 3.2 and 6.2 have a lot of language in common. So let's start by taking a look at the language that's in common between these two. First, the teacher provides evidence of student progress on the stated learning goal, which includes both formative and summative assessments. So this addresses the 2 points in time definition of student growth that is established in state law. Second, there is evidence of student engagement in assessment and monitoring of their own progress. This can look so many different ways depending on your classroom context, your grade level, whatever it might be. But as part of our process, we need to be able to show in some way that we've engaged students with that assessment process and that they're reflecting on their progress in whatever way might make sense for them. And then next, there's evidence of opportunities for students to share feedback on how they experienced the learning. So this is feedback to us as practitioners. How did it go? Did our lessons make sense? Did the assignments and materials support their learning? What was the experience like for them so that we can then reflect on that? And then last, the teacher uses information from student progress and students' experience of learning to guide the next steps for instruction. And this is key to reflective practice, right? So we take this information we've received from students and we do something with it. It doesn't just exist for the purpose of evaluation, it exists for the purpose of improving the next stage of instruction. What is unique to 3.2, which is our subgroup, remember that's our small group of students that we've crafted student growth goals, is that we reflect with our supervisor on the learning progress for individual students within the group. And the reflection includes an analysis of how the learning activities and instructional decisions impacted student progress. So this is really about us looking at what we did in terms of what we put into the system, the planning, the assessment choices, the feedback we gave our students, and then looking at the impact that it had on our students. Did our actions result in the kind of student growth that we would hope for? If it did, why? If it didn't, let's break that down and try to understand what we might want to do differently next time. Similar to 3.2, 6.2 also has a reflects with supervisor section, but in this case, it's not about individual students, it's about categories of students. So we're reflecting on 3 different kind of broad categories of students. Students who met or exceeded the goal, the students who met or nearly met the learning goal, and the students who did not yet meet the learning goal. And the key here is that we're analyzing why students did or did not make progress and what the next steps might be. This is about us really taking a look at the data we've received from our students to better understand the impact of our practice and what we might need to do to refine in order to continue serving or better serve those students and learners. This represents a major shift from the old rubrics to the new rubrics, where the old rubrics said things like some, most, all, or nearly all students met the goal. The new rubrics are about reflecting with our supervisor. The old rubrics were all about what did the data say? The new rubrics are about what do we do with the data? Because as we've recognized over the last decade of practice with student growth goal setting, the data itself isn't necessarily enough to represent what we as practitioners are demonstrating proficiency at. So really effective practitioners don't just gather data, we take that data and do something with it. In the case of these new rubrics, it's about us having a conversation with our supervisor and reflecting with them about the outcomes, about what the data says, and what that does to inform us about both our practice and our students as learners. This is just the top of the waves in terms of what the student growth rubrics are all about. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to the Office of Educator Effectiveness at the email and phone number you see here, and really encourage you to examine the different opportunities that are available both on the OSPI website as well as from other organizations such as WEA or AWSP or your local ESD to figure out what kinds of professional learning might be most helpful for you and your staff as you transition to these new student growth goals.